Hey everyone, my name is Ben. Currently I am one of the program assistants here at Beaver Hangouts. I am a third year at Oregon State studying nutrition with an option in dietetics and a minor in business. And today I'm just going to take you through a personal story of changing majors and how that went for me. Let's get into it.
So I know a lot of you right now are in high school, maybe in your final years of high school, maybe also in middle school, thinking about college, and that's perfectly fine. It's a great time to start thinking about college in the application process. Be sure to check out our other videos to find out more about that. One of the main things you're going to have to do when you come into college is decide on a major. Now, as we've always stated in our previous videos, you do not have to know exactly what you want to do when you come to college. I had no idea what I wanted to study when I first came to college. I had all these ideas jumping around in my head, from marine biologist or a veterinarian, or maybe I wanted to go into the sports industry. There's so many things that I enjoyed doing, I just couldn't narrow down exactly what I wanted to pursue a career in. It's perfectly okay to not know exactly what you want to do when you first come to college, and it's perfectly okay if you do know what you want to do. When you meet with your advisor during your freshman year, you'll all have academic advisors, and you can go through that process of deciding the major. So for me, coming into my freshman year of college, right out of high school, there's so many times in high school where people would come up to me and they say, Ben, what do you want to study? What do you want to study? What do you want to learn about? And I said, I don't really know. I got to the point where I'd say something different every single time. They asked me, what do you want to study? I said, well, I think I want to study marine biology, as I said, or I think I want to study business, or I think I want to, become a journalist. I had all these answers coming out of my head, but really none of them are true. I didn't know what I wanted to study. So coming into Oregon State, I decided to go undeclared. There's an option at Oregon State where you could actually major as an undeclared option, and I was in the exploratory studies program at Oregon State. Essentially what that means is you don't have a defined major. When you have a defined major, typically that first year and quarters following that year, you're going to have set out aligned classes that pertain to your career and pertain to your major, usually prerequisites to move on to the next term that you're going to have to take. Since I was in exploratory studies, I didn't really have any required classes that I had to take because I didn't have a defined major. What I got to do was, take a variety of different courses. I took an oceanography course my freshman term. I took a computer science course, which I really learned later that I did not enjoy at all. Probably one of the hardest courses I've taken at Oregon State. I took all sorts of classes, like sociology courses, things such as that. It was just a great time for me to get experience and try to figure out what I wanted to study in the long run. I encourage all students, if they're really wary or really don't know what they want to study, look into that option, talk to your advisor about it. It's okay. Maybe take that freshman year to just kind of find out, get in your groove, understand what you like, understand what you don't like, and so you can make a good decision when it comes to your major. Coming into my sophomore year, I said, okay, I've taken all these classes, so I try to put the pieces into my head and say, okay, what do I want to do in the long run? What am I passionate about? What are the things I like to do just outside of school? What do I want to continue to do as a person? It came down to two things, and that's I wanted to help people, so I wanted a job that was centered around helping people, and also I wanted something I found in the healthcare industry. So I landed on public health, just general public health, as a major my sophomore year. So I declared public health. Now my major is public health after talking with my advisor, letting her know that this is what I wanted to do. And so once I was in that public health major, I switched colleges within the university. I know that may sound confusing, but for each major there is a building or center that specializes in that major. So for me, once I majored in public health, I was now a part of the College of Public Health within Oregon State University. Now at the College of Public Health, I meet with my new advisor. Now I have defined classes that I need to start taking in order to fulfill my major requirements. Coming into my sophomore year, I started taking these public health courses, a lot of these courses like H100, H125, epidemiology, intro to the healthcare system. While I did find interest, vague interest in most of these courses, they seemed very general to me, very basic. It wasn't really specific enough for my liking. Middle of my sophomore year, I kind of thought to myself, I think I want to delve into something a little more specific. Around middle of my sophomore year, I start talking with my advisor again, going over options. One thing to know, when you're in university, when you're in college, you're going to have set times during the quarter, the term, semester, whatever system your college runs on. For us, it's quarters. Within each quarter, we were required to meet with our advisor at least once, go over everything, go over our classes, figure out what we're going to be taking next quarter. When I had that meeting, I was talking with my advisor. I said, hey, I'm kind of enjoying these courses, but I just don't think it's the right path for me. I think I'm going to be looking to switch my major again. I got back into that process. What am I really passionate about? Tried to not make it too general. I needed something specific. I wanted to stick with the healthcare system. I wanted to stick with something that was revolved around helping others. Also, a personal desire kind of came about in the fact that I'm very passionate about nutrition. Always trying to eat healthy. I'm always wary of what I'm putting in my body, because I know that it affects me, my energy. I know it affects my well-being. After kind of letting my advisor know of that, he led me on to the nutrition major. After looking at the nutrition major, kind of looking at that career path, looking at all the courses that were embedded in that major, I said, I think this is the one for me. I think this is the career that I would end up really being passionate about, really enjoy doing. I switched majors again. I was public health, and so now I switched over to nutrition, specifically with an option in dietetics. My goal was to become a registered dietitian. And essentially, if you don't know what that means, it's basically anything revolving around food, right? Creating meal plans for individuals, maybe helping someone create a diet who has a pre-existing health condition and helping them understand what they can eat, what they can't eat. Maybe helping someone meet their well-being and health goals and amending their diet that way. So that's really what I was interested in. That was my long-term goal. So now that I was switched to nutrition, right, I had a whole new path of courses that I had to take. And so for me personally, I switched a little late, right? So this switch to nutrition came about the end of my sophomore year. So I was in public health, almost up to the middle, almost to end of sophomore year. Since I switched so late, I was a little bit behind other people who were in my major. For those who were already majored in nutrition, freshman year, they already got their prerequisite classes done, right? So they had all their chemistries done, all their required biologies done before me. During that time, I was taking a lot of my baccalaureate course, the OSU required classes. I wasn't taking any of the nutrition major specific classes. In that sense, my academic advisor told me I was a little behind, and because of that, I was going to have another year tacked on to my degree, to my bachelor's degree. I ended up during that summer, at the end of my sophomore year, having to take 3 chemistry courses, had to come back fall term and take my organic chemistries and a biology course as well. And so those were really stacked on back to back, right? I had to get those done fast in order to keep on track with just having 1 year added on to my degree. Once I had finished that, it was just kind of the process of keeping consistent with my work, keeping consistent within my major. That was the main goal. Now that I switched to nutrition, I knew this is the major that I have decided on, the major that I wanted to continue to pursue. Once I had that in mind, it was just, keeping going with it. And kind of circling back to that idea of switching, it was definitely daunting for me coming into my sophomore year. I was really scared. I didn't really have a defined objective in my mind of what I wanted to study. And I knew that there was a lot of people ahead of me. Once I kind of talked it over with my friends, once I talked it over with my parents, my advisor, I learned that I'd rather, do something I'm passionate about, have a little more time in school, than to rush through and get done with something that I don't really want to do in long term. Upcoming college students, it is definitely okay to not know exactly what you want to do coming into college. You're going to have a lot of resources. Your advisors are there to help you and walk you through this process. Just be confident in yourself, be confident in what you want to do. Try to think of what you are passionate in, right? For me, it was just understanding what I wanted to do, what I was passionate in, instead of trying to rush through with a major that I wasn't really enjoying. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.